Okay, what we have first tonight, we have a public hearing on the Porter Lane subdivision because it being a major subdivision, there being over 5 houses involved, we have a different structure than we would if it was 4 or less houses. So it's called a major subdivision, and we have 2 official hearings. We have had trouble with fulfilling our obligation to notify abutters, and it's not our fault. And I hate to say that through snow and rain and dark of night is just not apparently done by the post office anymore. And the laws were written back when it was. You can count on it. So the property owners have rights to, and they have rights to a speedy, and speedy is defined in the ordinance, speedy hearing and a speedy resolution. Yes.
How is it defined?
By saying you have 30 days to do this and 10 days to do that, and so forth down the line. I don't see that we can delay this based on the fault of the post office, not the fault of the planning board or the fault of the applicant. You know, we got to continue on into 2025 when you can't count on the post office. So, people got on this.
Yeah, the first time, we had to have the second meeting because
Yeah.
of that, Joe.
We had a second, we've gone out of our way here to make sure there were the right number of public hearings and that everybody's gotten a say. And I see people here tonight who I haven't seen before, so communications seem to be doing okay.
Some people had to sign. We send them out certified mail this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not on the 25th, they were post dated the 25th.
Yeah. So, I brought it up because I saw a little something on Facebook, and let's put it out there. Let's talk about it. You know, don't hide stuff. So, Jamie, do you want to just give us an overview? I think what we're going to end up doing is going over the minutes of the last meeting, which are not approved yet, but they are the notes of what we talked about at the last session where we talked, and so we'll just address those and see if they're completed, if things have changed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, an overview of the project would be great. And then if you want to ask questions, I hope you feel free to bring up whatever you want to bring up. Address me. My name is Joe Pierce, for those of you who don't know me. And address me rather than addressing Jamie. It makes for a more orderly, civil meeting if we conduct it that way. Thank you.
Again, good evening, everyone. Jamie Garland with Mainland Development Consultants here tonight on behalf of Andrew Porter. We're proposing a 7-lot subdivision. There are 4 lots that range around 3 acres, 1 lot at around 12, and then 2 in the larger 60-acre scale. Since the last time we've talked to folks, we've updated the plan based on comments. We've identified slopes over 20% and pulled those out of the buildable areas. We have adjusted the proposed house lot for our Unit 7, pulling it outside the 1,000-foot setback for Saco River Porter Commission. And we've added some additional notes for protection of the property. The environmental aspects of the property, such as any action taken by a new homeowner will have to be permitted with DEP, such as the impact wetlands or whirlpools, which they naturally have to do, but we wanted to put that on the plan to just really draw it out. We also added the note from the fire chief With regards to lot six, if this actually does get constructed, this driveway down in, that there'll be a fire cistern installed, along with providing in that note the design specifications for the road as far as depth and thickness, so that a fire truck can adequately drive down there. Other than that, there have been no major changes to the plan, and so I'm here for questions.
So he was talking fast. And I know, we're not all familiar with this stuff, with designs and layouts. What we're talking about is, we're talking about the driveway for lot 6 down on the left portion of the lot, how one of our concerns was that the fire engines be able to get in there, put out any fire. Where would they get their water? You think they got the Saco right there, but you don't have easy access. And Jamie talked to Steve Sandler, and Steve said, I need 20 feet of width for the road, and I need a good road, not just a trail through the woods road, but actually pay attention to having a base. And he needs I think it's a 10,000 gallon tank. So what is happening here? Jamie's providing design. Andy Porter, who is the owner and developer, is not going to build right away. He may build along Pigeon Brook Road. He thought at first the 1, 2, 3, 4 lots on the upper left of the mother lot, and then he wanted to build a house for himself, which is lot 7 on the right-hand side of the lot. Most of this, which gets separated out. And he's not in a hurry. He's not a developer who's saying, gee, I got to break ground this fall in order to get my money out. That's not his concern. Yes.
Did you personally talk to him about this?
Yes.
And this is what he told you?
Yes, I talked to him on the sidewalk, as a matter of fact.
It seems like things have changed a little bit. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, originally I think he was gonna, the 3 or 4 lots in the front that you were speaking of.
Yep.
He mentioned that his, was going to be his brother or maybe family, but they could actually do anything they wanted with the land in the future, so if they build and then they could just sell.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of presented it both ways, and I think he doesn't know. Be my personal opinion. That's how I would judge it. He's sort of like, they're arguing. One of the things he said was they're arguing. His family's arguing with each other as to what they're going to do, and he said, I don't want to be part of the argument. I just want to get this done. So when they're through arguing with each other, we've got a way to go forward. I understand not believing somebody because we're granting the right to develop all those lots and sell them off to the highest bidder. Yes, absolutely.
It is, yeah. And it's not just somebody either, it's a developer.
Excuse me?
It's a developer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yep, I got it. I was talking in order to give the shy people who want to ask questions the opportunity to ask questions. I don't want to just cut off debate. Okay, you're all done. And, I want to give shy people the opportunity to do this. I don't want anybody to feel that they got shut down. You came because you care about this, and you're taking time on a Thursday night when I don't know what's on TV because I'm here, and, you know, you care, and I want to know more about why you care. Okay then, I'm closing the public hearing. And we are opening the regular meeting of the planning board. I'm calling the meeting to order. We have, 5 members of the board present, and, all of them are voting members tonight. We have minutes of the previous meeting, which, were handed out to anybody in the audience that wanted them to, so you could see what we were looking at, for change from the last time we looked at this project. And, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Motion to approve. We have a motion and a second, no seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, so we're going to consider the Porter Lane subdivision.
Can I ask you a question? This is the final plan.
Yes,
Preliminary is
I am thinking that we will vote on whether or not to approve the subdivision tonight.
So the preliminary hearings were held, now we're moving into the final subdivision requirements for subdivision requirements.
Yep. Yep.
I have a few questions.
Oh, okay.
What was, number 8 on was that paid? That was, I don't remember exactly the details, but it was, me and my husband sat down and figured it out, and that it would be like almost 400 people, passes to the lake paid, that would be, the town would be like.
You're talking about traffic count?
It is something to do with each, it's in your number 8 and number 21 were issues,
Minutes. Or
that we had before.
Traffic count,
Knowing what Saco River had to say, the Saco River Association.
Saco River Corridor Commission.
Corridor Commission, yeah, interested in knowing what they had to say.
Jamie, you're the one who talked to Saco River Corridor.
We included in our recent application, so they've completed a preliminary review of the subdivision. Their comments.
Yeah, well, I've seen the letter, it's hard not when you've got to look through everything.
No, give me 1 second for the right section. Their comments, lot 1 through 4 appear to be outside the corridor. Lot 5 had only a small area in the corridor. That could trigger their ability to engage in permitting. Lot 6 and 7 were their biggest concern, and anything done within the 500-foot buffer, which is shown here, would be limited, as well as anything within 1,000 feet they have their privy on. The fun one for the town is they noted ATV trails and logging trails were on the property that weren't permitted previously. And any work done with those in the future should be communicated to the Saco River Corridor Commission. We did let Andrew know, because one of our promises has been to keep some of these trails open, for everybody's enjoyment. And that was the crux of it. We have reached out to them multiple times, since this, and haven't heard anything back.
Right.
Would be updating that.
The plan has stayed the same, minus this line. They have seen everything that we proposed here.
Minus that line.
Minus this one adjustment in line. What they care about is this window here and this window here,
Okay.
knowing that where the lots are going to be. One thing we did add was a note on the plan that in the lots that are covered by the Saco River Corridor Commission, the owner at the time of record will have to communicate with them for any permitting needs.
So number 8 and number 21, did you guys find those?
I'm lost when you're saying 8 and 21.
Number
do
8
you see
in
that?
in the subdivision booklet, and number 21, ordinance.
Ordinance number 8, requirements, under 7.2.
And number 8 is the requirement that you pay the fee.
Oh, the fee, okay, I got it from, number 8, Joe, is, just let me read it. The date the plan was prepared, North Point, and graphic map, that's what number 8 is.
What was it?
Requirement number 8. The date of the plan prepared, North Point, and graphic map scale. That's not what you referred to.
No, it's not.
That's number 8.
Probably talking about, Article 8, subsection B.
Yeah.
Page 22.
Page what?
22. All applications for final approval shall be accompanied by an application fee. My copy is 300 per lot.
Would that be,
Andrew, I'm writing a check for that this week.
he's writing a check for it.
On Monday when I talked to him, he was saying the application said
So he hasn't actually.
that. Sorry. So he was trying to receive a check for the application.
We received a check with the application.
With the application.
Yes.
And that's for number of the page number 22.
I'm lost when you're saying, we're using some different number
On page
systems.
22 that he just stated, he said it was on page 22.
So Joe, I think what you're talking about is on the Article 8, the final plan for major subdivision. It looks like on the final plan, it's an additional $300 per lot. That's a mark per lot, so what's that, $1,500?
And that has not been
Yeah,
paid
sorry,
to my knowledge.
7, right?
Yeah,
So,
21.
that's just the math.
You haven't heard anything about receiving the check, no.
David, did you send a check for
Andrew was writing the check on Monday.
next Monday?
No, on Monday, this Monday when I talked to him.
Okay. So, do we know if Andrew sent the check to the town?
I have not heard from anybody in the town office that a check was received. I'm not saying it wasn't received, I'm just saying I haven't heard.
Okay. That's the question. How we doing?
And number 21 is was probably a big in this.
So it goes back to page 20. She's talking about the forest cover issue.
Right,
That was, delineated in one of the plan, that the most recent plan has the delineation of the applicant's proposed scope of deforestation.
have you got anything on the map,
Yeah, it's the stuff in green.
Yeah, on the final plans you have is the gray area minus the hatched area, which is slopes over 20%.
All right, so you've changed that since the last meeting.
Yeah,
correct.
To reduce the slope area.
Yeah,
My
that
concern.
was one of your requests.
That's what I was concerned about, so you fixed that.
We've taken
But
that out.
otherwise, it's the same.
The same footprint, just minus those 20% slope areas.
Yep. Anything else?
I have from my last note, what is the tree growth plan?
Tree growth generally refers to a property tax plan that is approved by the state to make it cheaper for people's taxes if they keep their land in forest, in growing trees.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that they have to talk to a forester every 10 years, and if they take their land out to mow it down so they can make a soccer field, they have to pay a penalty, which is somewhat severe. And I believe this land was all in tree growth, and they have taken out what we're talking about.
But they're
So-
going to, they're going to, I don't know if they have.
No.
Haven't
I
done
can
it yet.
speak to that if you'd like.
Yeah, but-
Yes,
So the property in itself, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, and part of 5 are actually not in tree growth except for this small sliver by the stream. We reached out to the county assessor's office to understand what the process would be. After the subdivision is complete, as long as the land is held, in Andrew's name, he doesn't have to remove this from tree growth. It would be on the event of selling a lot off or gifting a lot into a different name, that's what would trigger that event. Again, the intent is really, de minimis clearing on lot 6 and 7. If anything happens in there, to put a unit up here for him for camping. In lots 1, 2, 3, 4, when those are transferred, it'll be a de minimis, change in the assessed value, the tax value, because it's only a small sliver, through here, and it's in a softwood, growth area, not a hardwood.
so you have to have 10 acres in order to be in tree growth, 10 acres of woodland. To have a
So
minimum.
you say that's something that's gonna get revised after subdivision.
Once he conveys the property, he'll have piece of land off.
So they'll have a new forest management plan
Correct.
updated.
Yes,
I have a question, this fire road that he has to put in, who keeps that clear in the wintertime? So the trucks can get in and out, because that would be private, so the town wouldn't do it.
correct.
So he would have to keep that cleared constantly, so.
Well, if he builds down there,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
he doesn't build,
Yeah. All right, and did I hear that he had to put some type of, he had to dig, he had to put some type of water down there? to
Yes.
fill up the truck?
some sort of a cistern, yeah.
And what's the system? I don't know. What is
So, generally, well, you can speak to that.
Just to go through that full piece, so if anything is to be built on lot 6, we've identified a location. That road is just a little under 2,000 feet long. The town carries 1,000 feet of large diameter hose on it. So in talking with the fire chief, we'll site it with him, but we'll put a 10,000 gallon concrete structure in the ground. They'll hold 10,000 gallons of water, more than enough to put out a single family residential fire. So that's tied in one of our notes to, if this road gets built as shown, that cistern has to be put in.
So that'll be underground?
Underground, yeah, with a 4-inch piece of PVC pipe that comes out, just put a connection onto it. The road itself won't be built unless a house goes down in there, and the maintenance of, the driveway will be just as any residential homeowner. It's your job to keep your driveway clear.
Would that be a stipulation to that person that would be down there, that the road has to be clear? Because if it wasn't cleared and trucks couldn't get down, woods are on fire.
I would contend as a resident of any town, it's all of our responsibilities to clear our driveway for fire and emergency access.
That's not,
I think that would depend on the bank and the insurance agencies, insurance companies, to see that that kit was kept clear.
who would look into the insurance companies to keep that clear?
The owner of the house would probably insure it, and the insurance company would probably have something to say about whether he kept the road clear or not.
Yeah,
And the bank would
woods
too.
in general backing up to all the other houses, because then,
Yeah, no,
my
I
house is up there somewhere.
I understand in this weather, we're all a little nervous. But I would hesitate to task the code enforcement officer with going around and checking people's driveways to see if they have fire.
Yeah, but it's a road, really, like, we have the Interville Road, right, Interville Road up, yeah, I'm on the end of Pigeonville, and that's our responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't get wrong.
yeah. And your insurance company would get mad if you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a question, would a swimming pool be a cistern? Could they use a swimming pool?
I don't know, I wouldn't want to run chlorine water for fire calls. We're doing an emergency.
So it would have to be something other than a swimming
It's gonna be, what I expected out this year is a fire cistern.
Yeah,
10,000 gallons.
Just the actual pool can.
I want to talk about fire chief, but I wouldn't, and the reason I wouldn't is in the winter time, freeze, top layer ice is over, you got firefighters out there trying to chip away at the fire cistern itself.
So what type of spec do you have for this system?
It'd be coordinated with the fire chief for what he wants, so
You haven't actually spelled it out.
They have a standard 10,000 gallon concrete box one that we've used, that everybody uses. And
Is it very tank?
Very tank.
Is it very tank?
With a 4-inch Torx connection coming out of the vent pipes.
And how far underground is that? Will it freeze in the winter?
No, it's full of frost depth. Again, these are in most places in rural areas. They're designed with an abundant amount of water in there, so that when there is a house fire, they can be used to draft water out. And conversely, if that road ever gets put in for everybody in that area, you've got an additional water supply now, because in an emergency, a fire truck could back in down the road, park the truck. I was a firefighter for over a decade. I'll tell you what I would do if any house was on fire there. I'd put the truck in reverse back up and have another truck lay out from the road, and we've got water supply now, 10,000 gallons. 10,000 gallons is a lot of water when you mix it with foam to put a house fire out.
Is there gonna be, I don't know, since we're talking about fires, is there gonna be a need for fire hydrants to be put in if we're building more lots on the road?
No, the fire chief did not see that as a problem. His problem was that the fire truck only carries 1,000 feet of hose, and the Pigeon Brook Road is more than 1,000 feet from where the building envelope is. So we have identified one problem. I don't think we can approve this until we see the $2,100.
I just took the name of Wayne here back.
Yeah, sure.
2,803.25.
Why?
It's $25 an acre, and there's 152.13 acres.
So, we're thinking it's $3,803.25.
Which ordinance are you looking at?
That's, Article 8, final plan,
Which
the subdivision ordinance,
stated what?
dated,
Is it a certified class 1?
May 30th, 2025.
yeah, May 30th, 2025, certified by Deborah L. Wakefield. Yeah. And it's, Article 8, final plan 8.1 procedure, line item B, $25 per lot or acre, whichever is greater.
No, that's fine. We would add in front. Joe, I had a few issues on this one.
Yes, please, tell us.
So I think he's underselling the amount of changes to the final, but I think he's right. It's substantively, there's not a ton of changes. I had like 7 conditions I was hoping to get in that.
Okay.
So the first, I had a question first, Jamie. So it looks like your wells are outside of your area that you're going to clear.
Which plan are you looking at, David?
Whatever I got in the email.
On this one?
I mean,
We haven't shown any wells, and we've shown the septic locations, which are these.
so what are these?
These are the leach fields for the septic disposal systems.
So, but that's outside the area that you're gonna disturb.
For structural building, the septic can go up there, according to the ordinance.
What we asked you to do, 21 says where you're gonna you're gonna cut and have, anything on it. So
Area
it's,
for septic fields.
so 21 says, what does 21 say? Maybe it's the same in this one. 21 says the area on each lot where existing forest cover will be permitted to be removed and converted to lawn, structures, or other cover, and any proposed restrictions on clearing existing vegetation. So what I read that as is that's the part you're gonna cut the woods and put some sort of, structure, lawn, other associated improvements to the property. What did you thought it was a buildable area?
Those septic locations haven't changed since we started this. That's why I wanted to show where you could clear it for the house. Past bits have been nice since day one.
And I think David's making a good point. You didn't have a substantial area cleared for leach field.
I wouldn't say substantial for a small residential, but I'm not trying to be argumentative, but when we went through this, we talked about the building locations, and the septic locations have been shown there. I haven't moved them since, so I'd gladly, again, I know we gotta figure out the fee, but if it's a condition of approval to show that area there, we can. Because the setbacks you're seeing here, which have built those areas, are built off structural setbacks and resource protection areas.
Yeah.
That don't allow structures, but you can put a septic field in those areas.
Yeah, I think the question is clearing.
21 talks about clearing the forest. So you're gonna have to clear more than what you've shown in the shaded area.
And all I was saying is we've had those fields on there since day one. So that's where those boxed areas have been shown on there. I can draw an arrow on it that says this will be cleared to septic, in addition to the structural setbacks.
I might kind of quibble with you a little bit on that. 21 says the area on each lot where existing forest cover will be permitted to be removed and converted to lawn, structures, or other cover, and any proposed restrictions to be placed on clearing existing vegetation. Well, I might say that they might be clearing that they're going to allow to go up again.
Generally, septic leach field will be covered with grass.
Well, yes, if it's a leach field, it's been converted. So, yeah, I guess I would have to apologize that we didn't spot that before.
Well, I'm not saying it's a huge issue yet. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. So how much are you gonna clear all the way back to this line?
No. So for the buildings, putting a building in is in this area here, and then you would feed access to the back of the site, put your septic in, run your pipe up, and you have your distribution box.
Okay, but down here, it looks like, it shows the septic, like abutting the Saco.
Same thing, again, run a pipe down, distribution box. This is actually cleared in here already. This is near the trail area. We may have crossed, but again, these are preliminary test pits that show that the site has a passing location for septic. We could refine that by going on the site and finding a better one.
Okay, so I'll come back to that in a second, but what I'd like to see in terms of conditions is to say that each lot can only have one dwelling unit. That, I've heard no indication of the applicant wanting to have multifamily dwellings or anything of that nature. Plus, I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4 could support more than one dwelling unit. If the applicant's intending to do more than one dwelling unit, I think they should declare that now. Next one is before any development on the subdivision, the applicant must request review of the final application plans by the Saco River Corridor Commission and obtain approval and submit that to the CEO and planning board. I'm still super concerned about what the Saco Corridor Commission is going to say about A, where that septic is, B, where that driveway is, but I'm not them, so I don't know what they're going to say.
So hang on a bit, let's make sure Don's captured the words.
I can just give you
Review of final plan by SRCC and forward to CEO for final review. David's concerned about septic and driveway.
Three, want to have a condition that says all development or improvements on the parcel must adhere to the final plan and final application. There's quite a bit of information in the application, and historically, we've not connected the application with the plan. So I'd actually like this on the plan.
So can you say that again?
Sure. All development or improvements must adhere to the approved plans and final application.
Final plans and application.
Right, because the application has specs on the road, has, stormwater information, so, for, no development or improvement on, what's the big lot there? Is it 6?
6, 7.
6. No development or improvement to lot 6 until the driveway and cistern have been installed, and the CEO has provided written approval that it complies with the plan. It's a significant cost, and if anybody's gonna build in there, they could try to build without doing all this. Electric service must, that's the 5. Electric service must be in or parallel to the driveway access shown on the plan.
Oh, is that again, David? I missed it.
Sure. Electrical service must be in or parallel
Okay.
to the driveways shown on the plan. Next one. If a lot is sold, the applicant or current owner must provide the prospective buyer a copy of the approved plan and final application prior to closing. Again, we keep having people buy things in subdivisions and claim they didn't know what they were doing. Jamie, what's note 15? I don't have this.
15, property owners shall not disturb wetland or vernal pools without the appropriate approval from the Maine Department of Environmental Protection in the form of a permit or a license.
So if that's done, I think we should have notice from the CEO if that's been done. Some type of approval for the change.
With DEP applications, the town will be notified.
Sure, sure.
Can you go back to, I missed one here.
Here, let me just do them all and then I'll come back. What's 18?
18A, if a driveway is constructed to the length as shown on the plan, it shall be constructed with 15 inches base gravel, 3 inches of surface gravel. As specified by the town of Baldwin subdivision ordinance, a fire cistern shall also be required to be installed.
Alright, so consistent with the application. The application talks about how the road is going to be constructed. Then I wanted to talk about any restrictions that the board wanted to place on all of the land that's not shaded. So 21 talks about proposed restrictions placed on clearing existing vegetation. So that he's saying he's only going to devegetate the shaded area, which we know is not totally accurate. And not that you can say it that way. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. What type of restrictions, if any, do we want to talk about with the rest of the area? Can you just clear cut the rest of the area? If we're saying the shaded area is what he can deforest, what about the rest of it? I mean, the assumption is he can't deforest it if he's not showing it in shaded area, but I know, Joe, you're super sensitive to the any restriction on the, forest.
May I offer a quick statement to that?
Sure.
It may help you with reasoning. This area in here is in the floodplain area. The larger area down here is in the floodplain area. Most of those areas are covered in wetlands right now, as well as we've got the 500-foot setback, the 1,000-foot setback. I would say from protecting the land in these areas, they're regulated pretty tough right now. DEP has thresholds up to 15,000 square feet of wetland. and then you're going into individual permitting. Each one of those has a alternatives analysis to it. Saco River Corps Commission, I know, is very rigid when they're doing things within that 500-foot buffer. So just would say that for a piece of land, there are two large portions of it that are already hyper-regulated and preserved.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we do anything, I want to have a discussion about it. We talked about a vegetated buffer around the, whatever lot that is, let's see here, I'm not sure if they're here.
Lot 5?
No, yeah, whatever that cutout lot is, we talked about whether or not you would do a vegetated buffer. So I wanted to have that discussion. And then today you kind of promised that you keep trail access open. So if that's true, I want to have some reference in that, that the applicant's committed to keeping trail access open.
You're making me awfully nervous, David. You're getting pretty far into landowners' rights here. I mean,
But if you're gonna make the promise, I think you should put it in there.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that's a concern I'm starting to have with these things. And
Yeah.
we have another one down the road that we can have in front of us that, promises were made years and years ago and things have changed. And so I just feel like we need to be a little bit more, expressive I'm proposing that we be more expressive, but I had a couple hours today, so I went through it, and this is what I saw. And, you know, I think we have a good plan, I just think there has to be some additional details, if in fact he's gonna parse it out to folks who may not read everything.
so I am concerned with putting conditions on the use of the lot, undeveloped portion of the lot, in perpetuity. Fashion may change, climate may change, all kinds of things. I mean, it's very difficult. Very difficult to me. I will say about the trails, that was volunteered by the owner. That isn't something we imposed. And
Made me feel good.
it made you feel.
So it's part of the reason I think this dude's a decent dude is he's promised to do this.
Yeah, we didn't impose it on him.
Yeah.
I think what we asked you to go and talk to him about buffering around your lot.
Yeah, I think my husband mentioned that to Jamie the last meeting.
Can I speak to the buffer one?
Yeah,
The buffer is naturally there in that clearing area. The lot around it has side yard setbacks, and so that's a no clearing area, according to our plan.
So can we have a,
It's,
yeah. I mean,
I would contend that can we as an abutter get a buffer on the other side? No. And so we're showing the clearing area on the plan.
Yeah.
That has the side setback there. I think that's a great grant to a neighbor there, but I would contend to restrict this even further with buffers. When the abutting parcel has cleared up to that property line, it seems kind of restrictive on the new parcel.
we haven't cleared.
Your husband was, I apologize, I'm working off what we
We
said.
made the marker visible
Okay.
for the trail walk, but we haven't cleared anything. We haven't actually, we have to walk into the woods quite a bit. And we actually, we put some fencing in, but we haven't put it to our marker because it's been such an open area for so long that, you know, we don't need to do that, but.
So I guess that's the trade-off, right? So if in fact he's defining the clearing area and that has, as part of it, a buffer, that's great. But that just means we have to restrict them to the clearing area. Like don't get credit for both. You don't get to say it's not the shading is not actually a clearing area, but then get the benefit of saying, well, there shouldn't be a buffer because I'm only clearing what's in the gray.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Well, again, I haven't changed my statement on this. The shaded area is the buildable structural areas. I apologize, we've had a miscommunication with septic locations. Again, those have been on the plan, every meeting we come here, through many. And I might have assumed that you gotta clear it to get your septic field, but you can let that grow over and have tall grass on it when you're done with it. And again, the preliminary test is to show that the site does have a feasible, viable location. A owner of the property may want to put the septic in a different location and could pay for somebody to come to a second test pit and show I can put it here. Again, we're trying to meet the intent and the spirit of the land use ordinance through doing the septic test pits. There's no malice or disregard to this. The buffers are the buffers. We've taken up 20% slopes in recognition of the conversations. We have the natural buffers around all the properties. And if I could speak to with regards to the trail system, Andrew from day one has worked with one of the abutters who was on the Snowmobile Club and the ATV Club. They have been in communication. They are working together. I will take it back to Andrew, but I disagree with putting in a restriction that these trail systems have to be maintained. And I say that because right now everybody's in a good relationship. To say that we got to keep those trails in, the town can just rip through this property seems counterintuitive and devastate and destroy, especially when anything that happens on those trails, the property owner is going to be responsible to the Saco River Forest Commission, not Snowmobile Club or the ATV Club.
And I am concerned that if you write this in, people are therefore allowed to do whatever they feel like doing, and there's no landowner control. The landowner can't say, well, you keep on throwing your trash and dumping it on my land, I'm gonna close off these trails.
Well, can that be part of the conditions, putting the conditions?
I don't know what other evil might happen, I don't wanna, no laws will be broken on these trails.
It's littering, you mentioned littering, so,
Yeah.
like, the trails are, I think, have been there for how long? Yeah, 20 years, and we haven't had any issues yet with that issue, I'm guessing. I don't go down there, so.
My experience is that it only takes one jerk.
Mm-hmm.
You can have had wonderful luck with no jerks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have one person who, has to chug their beer and throw the can and then throw the, I come across, deer stands with cigarette butts all around and cigarette packages.
Yeah.
Joe, I think there are points on both sides. My concern is that if it is not acknowledged or documented in some fashion in the conditions, that there's not really any promise or commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew made a promise or a commitment to keep the trails open and accessible. And if that's something that he said, that all of the people who were at the site walk and all of the people that are here tonight, it's an expectation that they have. Now, as soon as he starts granting the properties to his family members, if there's nothing documented, then we're setting up a situation for conflict and lack of comprehension and coordination. We're setting up a future for problems because people are going to say, well, this was promised to us, and the new owners will say, I don't know anything about that, and then you have a mess. So what I would propose, because I agree that things can happen that would make people change their mind. I think that this should go back to Andrew, and he should be asked to clarify his promise or commitment to keep the trails open and accessible. If that's something that he is committing to, then it should be in the conditions. If it is not something that he is committing to, then it shouldn't be in the conditions. But we want to avoid verbal agreements or understandings.
It's a difficult situation, I agree.
That's my perspective. 2 cents.
Yeah, very reasonable perspective.
I mean, is there, that's a weird question, but is there a way, if it is on there as a, or he writes a letter and says, trying to keep these open, you know, and for use, the way you're saying, is there a way to have in there a clause that says that if he was frustrated, something's going on, that he can bring it to the town and bring it up as a problem and concern, so that he can address it appropriately, or the town can help him decide? Do we shut something down? Do we change something? What do we do? You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to think that was that on both sides. I also have a kid who uses those trails, so if I hear, oh, these trails are, he's gonna keep them open, and he promised this, and I send my kid over there, and all of a sudden, there's an issue, you know what I mean? How do we deal with that? Because he said one thing, and now there's an issue. So I worry about that kind of both sides of that, I guess. But I just wanna make sure both parties are protected. If it's open to be used, or, you know, by anybody, they need protection as well as the other side.
Well, I don't think he's responsible for anybody as long as he's not charging, right? Like personally responsible.
Correct.
Right, no, yeah.
Correct.
So, I mean, that piece isn't, you know, an issue.
You wanted to say something about it?
Well, the condition, you know, if we go back to Andrew and say, you know, what is your promise or commitment regarding the trails? They will be open and accessible under the following conditions, yet if these things happen, that access can be revoked or something like that. I mean, that sounds a little legal. Maybe David can guide us, but we should try to delineate this to the greatest degree possible. If it's, you know, if he's gonna make that promise or commitment.
Carol.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, just because I can. Gene used to be in charge of the ATV club, and I know that he always had issues when land was sold and all sorts of stuff. He always had to rewrite letters and get new permission from the actual landowners. I don't know what his reasoning was for that. I don't know if it was state laws that mandated the ATV clubs, or if it was town construct or anything. But as these lots get sold, I would assume that that would also have to take place, that the ATV club or the snowmobile club would have to step in and say, do we still have permission? I know that was a role that Gene used to do. I don't know if that's still the case, and that was, you know, that was a while back, so.
I think if there's a condition in the subdivision approval that transcends any individual lot conveyances.
And Jane, I have a question. So, we won't get like a buffer. There's no agreement with that. I have to let my husband know.
As shown on the plans, there are clear areas which would create a buffer. We're maintaining your easterly side, no clearing coming around. The southerly side, the setback property line limit creates a buffer, and then on your westerly side creates a buffer. So there's existing uncleared area that creates a natural buffer.
I would be concerned with prescribing that no trees were cut in a buffer area.
I think it's only like 30 feet or something.
But it's still, over time, it's unhealthy. You know, they had to go in and cut the Bowden pines because they found out you have pine trees that are 150 years old that begin to die and fall over.
Well, that was an environmental issue. It wasn't necessarily a, well, we're gonna cut these down.
Right.
Create something.
But that becomes, how do you define that? I mean, I can give you certification systems for foresters that would define that for you, but,
Just a question for you. Around lot 5, is it totally trees now, or is there some open areas?
Question?
Around lot 5,
Yeah.
on Porter's property,
Yeah.
is it totally treed, or is there some areas that are open?
I get cleared out, I should down for this thing.
Nothing around the property line,
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yes, this is tree right now,
totally treed.
based on when we got our sidewalk, what I saw there. It's not survey grade, so I wouldn't say to that, but based on the, yes, we got.
There's no open areas like field areas.
I would ask the abutter, or town to ask the abutter, based on the map.
You know, because if it's treed, that's one thing. If it's open fields, you might need a buffer.
So this is a densely wooded area minus the trail areas that are been approved.
so what I would think was reasonable to ask for in terms of buffer is that the parts of lot 5, 6, and 7 that are in tree growth be committed to being in tree growth.
I think we can land on that. My only caveat to that would be to put this driveway in here. That's the way that statement's read.
Okay.
Is this whole thing stays in tree growth, which, let's be honest, it's not gonna happen. There's gonna be a cabin up here or something.
Well, so we're defining what's. I'm asking you to draw a line and say what you will keep in tree growth, I guess.
Can I ask for
Yeah,
one or
I'm
two
sorry,
questions
yes.
here? I feel like we're collapsing this down on this 7-lot subdivision in the town. The first one I'd like to talk to is the trail system.
Yeah.
I apologize if I sound a little frustrated, I am.
Yeah.
In the final approval process, if
Yeah.
we're gonna say the trails are shut off, is that something that would stop this process moving forward? So I have to be able to give the devil's advocate to both sides of this.
Yeah,
Not in my mind.
not in my mind.
So that's where I bring up this question is if, and Dave, were you in no or yes? On pitch raw paper.
There's no requirement in the subdivision ordinance that you maintain or allow to maintain
And that's,
the trails, but if you promise to do it, that's a different question. So my point is, if you're trying to make us feel warm and fuzzy about this by promising to do it, you should be willing to put it in as a condition. If you're not, that's fine, but just don't throw that warm blanket at us. I just want to be clear what's going on. It's really not Andrew, it's other applicants that are annoying me, but you happen to be in front of us right now.
and I would contend the opposite to that is, we've worked in good faith through this whole process. This plan has had one minor change to it, and we've added some additional detail, but the conversations with the abutting neighbors who are on that trail system, they've been working through how this works, how it goes. On the flip side of this, if this becomes so contentious to make a landowner put in their subdivision plan that will outlive all of us, that these trails have to live, I feel like that's an overreach from the town.
And all he has to say is that's not something I want in there.
But it's counterintuitive to what he's doing already. He's naturally working with these
So
folks.
take it out of the plan. That's what David's saying. That's where you two can agree, and I agree. Take it out of the plan, but do it anyway.
But where I go with this is what do I take out of the plan?
There's nothing in the plan. So there's nothing in the plan about approval of this subdivision based on ATV and snowmobile trails.
And
So,
I'm just sensitive to, there'll be a finding of fact on this. Andrew is working with, but if I say definitively no just to get this through, the optics are just horrible. And so I'm trying to find this happy ground of we're working outside of this, the trails are there, I just don't see the need for a note on the plan.
I'm in agreement. Can you agree with that?
Again, I said it's not definitive to me, it's just, it's informative, but it certainly doesn't change my perspective on the plan.
I mean,
And it's not a requirement of subdivision ordinance, but it's informative, so.
again, I haven't talked with Andrew yet, right now,
Well,
it's
I think that
I gotta
you
flush
should
this out.
talk with Andrew, because if I was not sitting here and I was sitting out there and, I and my family and friends have used this trail and I was on a site walk and Andrew said, I'm working with the snowmobile people, I'm gonna work with the ATV people, and, we're gonna keep these trails open, then that is a verbal commitment, it's a promise, okay? And if it is, then it should be documented in some fashion so that you don't have this warm blanket thing that can later be thrown in the hopper. Now, does he have to? No, he doesn't. But he brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
He made the commitment. Now he should be asked what he's willing to document in a condition in terms of the plan as a courtesy and in mutual respect to all the people in the surrounding it in the neighborhood.
We're talking the same thing. I will stop at this moment in that I would not ask any landowner that's sitting in this room to encumber their property in a legal document that outlives us all. I would ask them to go work with whatever organization it is that will transpire across their land. I will gladly talk with Andrew. It's his final say in the project. It's his project. I just want to get my personal view out is that for all of us as taxpaying residents of every property, for a town to tell us to encumber our property when we're working in goodwill, it puts us, the applicant, in a very awkward position of, I'm trying to do the right thing, but if I do not proceed to put it in here, then it's a negative. That's Jamie Garland talking about Andrew Porter. Just want to put that out there. I will rest my case on that one. We'll talk with Andrew.
I mean, Amanda is good at this word too, and we aren't here with them, we're here. And, he bought a house in Portland, so, this is only gonna be, he doesn't really have to deal with us as much as.
Yes,
Should the subdivision?
could you speak up? I'm sorry.
Should the, assuming the subdivision is approved and he does not commit to keeping the trails open and it falls to the homeowner, if they decide to close their trails, how are we informed of that? Can they just close it on their own or do they have to bring it to you?
If we did not put it in the plan, then they could just do what they wanted to do.
Jamie, you said you missed one of the ones, what was the subject of the one you missed?
Can I just get a photocopy of your items?
Oh my goodness, that's fine, yeah, sure.
I don't want to hit the ones you wanted. I just did want to confirm. You had one about Saco River corridor.
Yeah, I mean, you said, both you, I think, well, just you pretty much have said that in order to,
Note number 14, the reason I asked is note number 14, I said prior to construction of the driveway, built, complete any permit necessary with Saco River corridor conditions.
and, say that again?
Note 14 on the plan.
Yeah.
Prior to the construction of any driveway entrance on the property, the owner shall coordinate the requirements, they have it in here, already here. Lots 5, 6, and 7, prior to construction, the property owner shall complete any required permitting with the Saco River Corridor Commission, along with any municipal or state agencies.
And I want to expand that to any development in the subdivision, and that you need to get approval, and you need to provide that approval to the CEO of the planning board.
Well, the only reason I took out 1 through 4 is outside that preview. 5, 6, and 7 are the only ones that fall within the maximum 1,000 foot buffer.
I understand.
You're saying permitting, though. I'm saying there is no permitting. lots 1 through 4 with Saco River Port Commission.
Well, it's part of the overall subdivision, that's my point.
Where I go with this is I can't come back with any permit to do something, so I'm trying to avoid in the future.
That's an approval.
There's nothing to approve.
So what's it, so you go to the Saco River Corridor Commission with this plan, and they say, sorry, buddy, the driveway that you have in there is just no go.
No, for lots 1 through 4.
No,
Correct.
they say no, they say you can't do it, it's too close, slope's too bad, your septic on 6 is way too close to the river, can't do it, no way you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So you did not obtain approval, right? If they said you can't do it, you would not have approval.
Correct. Where I go with this is lots 1 through 4. We don't have, they will not, there's nothing to apply with Saco River. So it's 5, 6, and 7, 100% agree with it. We can't do anything but lots 1 through 4. So what you're saying is if I own lot 1, and I come to pull a building permit, I gotta show an approval from Saco River Corridor for my building permit when there's nothing to permit. I just wanna make sure we clarify.
What I'm saying is what I would like to see as one member of the planning board, before anything is done on this 150 odd acres under this subdivision, that the overall plan pass scrutiny with the Saco River Corridor Commission. Because if it doesn't, and you have to come back here, I don't want you to say, well, I've already sold 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, we can only do this, this, and this. So I want to, if you get it rejected and you have to come back, I want to look at the whole plan again.
So to go permit though with Saco River Corridor, for say lot 6, I've got to know what I want to put in there. The only thing we could go and maybe talk to know septic systems and the proposed road. I don't know what we're actually going to do down there.
But you have a cleared area, you have a proposed location for a septic, you have a driveway, you have a proposed location of the house.
Or something on there to show, because we had to show something for you. Well, as we went through this, Andrew has no idea what he wants to build. And we hit a milestone where you wanted driveways, a potential house. So that's what we've shown on there. It's not what will be permitted. And so I don't know what it looks like. It could be a small cabin down there. It could be a 3-bedroom house. And that changes the dynamics of what you're trying to permit with the Saco River Port Commission.
David, I think you have an impression that the Saco River Corridor Commission is very well organized and knows what they're doing and pays attention to all this stuff. They don't.
I don't know, she wrote a nice letter.
She writes a nice letter.
She went through and said, that lot looks good, that lot looks good.
Yep.
And, you know, the changes since they saw this plan, I mean, there are substantial changes. I mean, the location of Pigeon Brook has been modified in the final plan. The location of the driveway has been put in there. The buildable area has been put in there. The setbacks are far clearer. The 6 and 7 line has been changed. And there's a substantial amount of changes in this plan from Saco River Corridor Commission side. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but by the same token, like we're getting rolled over by people, and we have to have them follow the, you know.
And I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that the Saco River Port Commission's jurisdiction is over those 3 lots.
I get it, but if they say no, so okay, let's play this out.
Yeah.
You take it to them, they look at it, and they say, no way, you can't do this. You can't have that driveway there. You can't, you know, the area that you want to have your house doesn't work. You know, you can't have that driveway there. So then what do you do?
And I think I can help you here. So lot 7, we've actually shown the building outside their jurisdiction. And on lot 6, I've left enough land area up here outside the town setbacks and clearable area where a unit goes there. So right up in here, if you had to.
You're talking your way out of this situation here. They're saying you're going to build up there, and you showed the house down below.
I have 76 acres of land, but my client does not know what he wants to do on there. We have shown an area down in the bowels of this property, the maximum extent of what you could do. I would say to the town, I've shown you a worst case scenario, and I'm telling you, we still have clear area up here outside the jurisdiction. I'm meeting the spirit of what you're concerned with. We're not creating lots that will evolve into unbuildable, non-conforming lots. We've shown the worst case of what could be done. And so I agree with you, David, I agree with you on that. If it's just putting 1 through 7, 1 through 7 lots, I just put the note that 1 through 4 are outside their jurisdiction.
What makes it confusing is because you're showing that lot being built way over here on the left side. If you just had shown it when you just spoke, it's pretty clear. We're not dealing with a driveway anymore, we're not dealing with fire anymore, we're not dealing with a lot of issues.
Well, again, I'll go to, we could have gone in here for.
I mean, you could have done that.
I could have done this without coming to the town. We could have done gifted lots 5 years at a time.
Yeah, you
The
could have
point
done
is, Andrew has come in to show best case. If I can get down here to this nice area where I want to build, I'll agree to you that we'll build this driveway 20 feet, which nobody has a 20-foot wide driveway. We'll put 18 inches of gravel in. We'll put a 10,000 gallon cistern in. But if to David's point, Saco River says absolutely not, you guys are way out of base, we've still left enough space up here so these lots are.
You still have a buildable lot, even if you want to up here, Pittsburgh Road. You could have done that. And then you could have dealt with it later on, what you're doing with.
Well, we're talking about the same thing right now is having to come back later on. We've shown the worst case of everything of what this could look like so that we can be transparent with the town. The long driveway down in is a nice, beautiful area. Everybody that went on that sidewalk saw that. It's a beautiful little spot. It's in the area where you
I think you're just making it more complex by showing,
and
dealing with that area down there.
And if we don't show that though, we won't, if we don't show cleared area there, we can never put something down in there at the rate we're going with the town. So that's what I'm saying is we've shown the maximum output you can do with these. You can always shrink back up, but I can't go extend further.
So the plan is to build down there later on? So that's a 12-acre buildable lot, so that's 4 units, right? If each place has to have 3 acres?
No.
Once we set, that's what we're talking about, is only one unit
You only have
can
4
be
lots.
built on each one
So
of
he
these
could have
properties.
gifted all this off that road spinner and we're done.
That's what we're writing.
But he wanted to define the lots, have this legally done, and we're done.
Yeah, that makes it more complex.
So if he builds the house down there on lot 6, he can't build up by the road too. That's it's one or the
One
other.
unit, and we're agreeing to the note that came over, one dwelling unit on.
One dwelling unit on each unit?
On each lot.
lot?
Yeah.
And Jamie, the developers agree to that?
I'm gonna bring it back, but Andrew will agree with that's not a concern.
Because I know the last meeting I was here, not this one, but the one before that, the 12-acre lot, the gentleman, I'm sure, asked him if he'd be willing to only have that as 6-acre lot, buildable lot, and he said no, he doesn't agree.
Which lot was that?
The 12 acres, there's only one that has the 12-acre buildable lot,
Yeah,
right?
lot 3, lot 5,
That's a 12-acre lot that's
12.1,
buildable?
I'm sorry, it's 12.1 acres. Well, it's probably this one.
Yeah, that one right there, yeah. He was in agreement to cutting that down to the last meeting, not this last meeting. That was something that was asked.
One of the things that happens with a subdivision is you have frozen the lot lines. You have frozen a lot of stuff. That's why this discussion is getting, pretty detailed and I think it's a heck of a straitjacket to put any landowner in, to put anything in a subdivision. And that's what Andy is consenting to. That this is all he can do with the lot. With his imagination, he goes home and he says, "Oh, but I think I should have I should have a fishing camp also." Can't do it.
Yep. It's really restricting yourself.
I've seen people come to this realization while they're sitting in the room. They didn't realize how much they were tying themselves down. Mr. Porter has gotten professional help and understands that he's a developer. And even so, he's consenting to a lot of conditions here. Possibly. If this goes through, he will have consented to a lot of conditions. And we ought to remember that. Yeah. enough. So, where are we with this?
First of all, we need a check.
Excuse me?
We need a check
We need a check.
to keep this thing going.
Yep.
We can't approve it tonight.
We can't approve it tonight, and we will be going
And we have
to the next meeting in September, which will be the 11th.
So I made note of 4 open items.
Okay? We agree with the list that,
There it is, 11. I counted 12, but
are your items on David's list?
Well, one is the check.
Yep.
Okay. The other is going back to Andrew about the owner's promise commitment to keep the trails open, and just to clarify, let's make it black or white, not gray. You know what I mean? I think we've clarified that needs to be clarified. And then there was the issue that you brought up of what will be kept in tree growth. Okay, and I don't know where we landed on this 4th item, which is the Saco River corridor commission approval. It seems like there are aspects of the plan that have not been seen by the Saco River Corridor Commission, and we should just make sure that they have seen the most recent schematic plan with all the, driveways, septics, everything else that, I know they wrote a letter, but, we should, make sure that they've seen the very latest, before we approve this. Those are the 4 items that I have.
Just for that last one, we agreed before that he didn't have to submit it to the Saco River Corridor Commission before we approve it. We agreed he could do it afterwards, and that there wouldn't be any activity question on what, but there wouldn't be any activity until he got the Saco River Corridor Commission's approval. So just, I'm not sure if you were here for that meeting where we said we wouldn't require him to do it beforehand.
Well, then that's actually a condition.
Exactly. That's why I put it in the way I
So
did.
you have it.
That's what I was concerned about.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure if you were here for that, Matt. That's why.
Yep. That's good. So those are the ones that I have.
Yes, Jamie.
I want to end a good note with David. David, on note 13, lots 5, 6, and 7, prior to any construction, if we just say lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then list out Saco River Corridor Commission, DEP, and any required permitting, would that meet the spirit of what you're trying to do there with the lots? Receive any required permitting?
I think 13 reads fine the way it is.
We were talking about all
Yeah,
full
no,
subdivision, I'm
that's-
okay, just that way it covers it that Saco River's not, so it doesn't need
You
it.
could say, if you put a second sentence, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not subject to a Saco review, but I think the rest of the 13 is fine. Because it talks about 5, 6, and 7.
Yes.
We're good, okay.
I mean, there's a little bit more, but essentially,
I'll wordsmith it,
look at what I have.
yeah, I'll take yours and we'll make it work.
Is the board content with what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything about this? Yes,
I have a
Jim.
question. In your ordinance, you require 2 Mylar copies, as well as paper. One of those for the registry of deeds. The registry requires a paper wet seal plan now. Does the
Okay.
town want the Mylar copy, or do you want us the paper copy?
Mylar is after final approval, right?
Correct. I'm just
It's not
trying to,
now.
we don't have Mylar in our office, so I saw that and was trying to find out where we can get some.
You don't need
You don't have Mylar yet?
No, because the registry of deeds doesn't
We
require
don't-
it anymore.
We don't use Mylar anymore.
Oh, we're gonna need a reproducible copy.
Yes, yeah, we'll get you the wet seals when the time comes.
Great.
Jamie, can you make a note on the plan that the location of, can you mark the building with a B or something? And put on the plan that the location of the Bs are what's the right word, is prospective, suggested, proposed. That make a note that it's not, you're not saying that that's where the, you are supposed to put where the septic's gonna go though. So
Yeah.
it does say, so when you say you're not sure that's where the septic is gonna go, I think you do have to say where the septic is going.
Yeah, and we proposed these are the locations that our site evaluators found. I've run into this recently where somebody went back out and they wanted to put the house a little different with the septic somewhere else, so they had a site evaluator come back out and remove it. To a passing site evaluator's location.
So we'll wanna put a condition that any material change to
Has to be
the
reviewed.
location of septic has to be approved.
I have a question. Is the independent, what is changing name?
Engineer,
Well, is the independent person gonna come in and do the independent survey gonna be happening?
no,
I thought that was like, you know, like, let's check this out later.
it's a possible, we can do it,
Yeah.
but when we don't see a need, we do not, pile expenses on people that are needless.
Okay. It just seems like there's a lot of back and forth with the whole.
Oh, you should see us, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Jamie's doing a good job, like, it's just,
He's done an excellent job.
it's just,
The last yard, this is where everything.
yeah,
It's the conditions, we just,
You haven't had a heart attack yet?
No, I know I'm overweight, but I won't have a heart attack, I promise.
Also, in the stomach?
I'm not bugging you.
we're dealing with people who are doing things correctly. If they were not doing things in a manner we thought was correct,
Right.
then we'd need the money to check up on them.
Alright.
That's
Yeah.
a quick and dirty explanation.
Well, you know, you wanna make sure people are following through.
Yeah, but we're not having that kind of an argument.
can we get a list of the proposed conditions before the next meeting, Don?
I could do that. What I will do, I'll take your list, I got, Matt's comments, I got some of Joe's comments, I just got to distill it and put it into a list, and these are things that we need to consider. That's the way I'm gonna word it,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
And we're still having discussion on these, a lot of these points.
totally.
So all I'm gonna do is, these are the things that were brought up, needs further discussion.
Yeah, and some of them may be rejected. Then Jamie, can you give us new plan? If you're gonna add conditions or modify the conditions that are on there, can you get those to us before the next meeting? I'm not sure you have to do a whole new plan, but just maybe a list of the what do you call those?
I gotta update them anyway for a final plan.
Okay.
So we'll do that, and I'll probably put them in the Word document so we can easily look at them instead of.
That'd be appreciated. I appreciate that.
I think the big ones were, talking to Andrew about the ATVs. That's a big one.
Yeah, again, I know.
That's something we gotta talk about. I think we talked about revising limit of clearing to show the leach fields or septic fields. Saco River we talked about. Let's see what else I think. The interesting one about your electric service, though, David, that could be interesting. Have a note on that. Anyway, I'll get the list of this.
Yeah.
I'll do these notes quickly and we'll get it out.
Great.
If we can get out back to Jamie quickly, just,
I got the copy here.
there won't be an official,
We'll get an official copy.
Yeah, but I'll start working on this.
Great.
I will get you some,
Thank you, John.
I will,
And can we, mention the 34 to 30
I gotta look at what
buffer?
I gotta look at what the side setbacks are. I can't remember off the top of my head. So,
I'm still fighting that. As a landowner, I hate the idea that somebody could tell me I had to maintain a 30-foot, 40-foot buffer at the edge of my property. This actually came up, when Long Road put in a, solar farm on our land. And we decided buffers weren't needed, but,
Well, I mean, our lot is surrounded by his lot, and, you know, I mean, we aren't even clear to our line.
yeah.
Never mind somebody else clearing to their line, so it's kind of like a respectful kind of thing.
I think it'll be addressed in a different way, but, you know, the old adage, if you don't own it, you don't get to control it.
Yeah.
Is pretty much how it goes, but I think it'll be addressed in a different way, not as a buffer, but as a clearable area issue, so. I think Joe's gonna lose this one.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll see you again September 11th.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Is your name Renee?
Christina.
Christina, sorry.
Okay.
So we'll see you September 11th.
I'm sure you will. As long as I don't have my granddaughter.
Okay.
All right, good.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. And, yeah, thanks for seeing you on the 11th. Appreciate working with you. I do.
Again, I make myself the one online. I have no ill will towards anybody. So we have to both sides stand their ground and we come out.
It's how this thing works. So, now we're looking at newer things. Subdivision on Sedago Road.
Yes.
So this is an organization, what I call an organizational meeting, where we get a presentation and we get an idea of what's being proposed, and we don't even have a real application yet. This is just a informational meeting, informational for us as much as for the project engineer. We have
Another subdivision.
Yeah, I'll stick around. Not your business, my business.
So, you want me to do that or?
Okay, thank you. So what we intend to do tonight, get a vague idea of what's going on, where it's going on, and we will set a site inspection date. Potentially.
What was your name?
Okay,
Jim Seymour.
I'm gonna stand up because I
Jim
can't
Seymour.
see.
SEYMOUR.
I'm sitting down. So please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Jim Seymour. I'm a civil engineer and project manager with Sedago Technics, representing this project tonight for Stanley Douglas. Skip Douglas is his nickname. This property is located on the intersection of Carbonell Road and Sedago Road through 11. Mr. Douglas owns two parcels there. One is this long, slender green lot where he currently has a duplex, and then he owns what's left of what was once called Stony Brook subdivision. That has been discontinued and stated it's no longer in existence. Part of that subdivision was this lot, which has been sold to somebody else. Mr. Douglas owns a large piece of the remaining piece of that. What he'd like to do is propose two more duplex dwellings on the green lot, but to do that, he needs to transfer property from himself such that this entity in the color would have enough net density to match the 6 dwelling units.
So those are 3 duplexes that are going to be on this.
Yes.
This was the first subdivision I ever was involved with.
Oh, really?
And I was involved in the dissolving of it too.
But you're not allowed to recuse yourself.
So the duplex that's there is just a duplex on a piece of land.
Correct.
It is not part of any subdivision.
Correct.
And we are now making that a subdivision by adding 2 more duplexes
Right, within a 5-year period.
within a
But
5.
this was completed in, I think, early 2024.
Okay,
So we're within the 5 years, so it has to be included within the envelope. And the subdivision law is based on dwellings and lots, as you well know, but the public may not. So,
sure.
even though there are some changes coming to the law, I don't believe that Baldwin has adopted those, which will be coming forward in September, and maybe 2 years before you get to it, based on the way the rules are going. But anyway, back to what I was saying, is that we're proposing 2 more dwelling units. One would share the driveway that goes to the existing dwelling unit. The third one would come down here, we have a separate driveway. There would be probably 200 plus feet separation between the driveways that would require a state permit for entrance. We've shown the wells to be located in the front and septic systems in the back. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do on this still, but it's just early presentation to the board to get a sense of what Mr. Douglas would like to do. So again, we're here this evening, kind of on short notice, but just try to get any feedback from the board this evening as far as, you know, what they'd like to see going forward. So here we are.
So you're required, every dwelling unit, the first dwelling unit in a subdivision, you're required to have 200 feet of frontage, and then every additional dwelling unit is 100 feet of frontage.
And we have several, we have over 1,000 feet.
You have over 1,000 feet of frontage. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 acres, I count, just roughly. Is that right, John? 8 or 9 acres? I think it was closer to 9 acres is what we require. How many acres do we have?
I think with the yellow and the green, we're at 7, but again, he owns all this, so he can add more to that. We just based it straight off what we read in the ordinance, so it's a different calculation, we're obviously working from.
I think we're, the CEO and I are agreed on 9 acres.
Wait, 9 for what?
And so the first dwelling unit is, 2 acres is required. And then you add another dwelling unit on that 2 acres, makes it 3 acres.
Where's that?
In the subdivision ordinance.
Yeah.
Is the yellow an existing lot?
Excuse me?
Is the yellow an existing lot?
The yellow is a part of the lot we were considering to break out. The
But I
lot
mean, is it surveyed, that lot, that yellow area? Is it a survey on that lot?
yes. Yes, it is.
Is it a different lot and block number, or,
Yes, this is, I believe, this is lot 2, and I think this is 3-1.
and the yellow would be what?
Well, the yellow will be brought into this one. The land that he actually owns was well beyond his large piece that goes way down Carbondale.
I'm just wondering, why is it shaped the way it is shaped?
We just did that based on the quick land calculation to bring it into what we thought would be 6 units. So you want to have that in a different entity than this.
So,
There's no rhyme or reason for the configuration.
Is he just trying to keep the hill?
Yeah, he would like to keep the hill with that, yeah.
so I see a couple huge issues here. And the first issue is you can't have driveways, subdivision onto a numbered route. So you
You can only have one.
can't have any driveways onto a numbered route. So you'd have to do it, and Christensen, who owns property, he owns the one right next to you, he came in and wanted to do something similar, slightly different. But we told him he had to have an internal road if you're gonna have a subdivision on a numbered route. So that's the first issue. The second issue is, and this is what I'm trying to understand, Joe, my understanding was to get a building permit, you have to have 2 acres per dwelling unit. And so each of the subdivisions would be 2 dwelling units. And so you'd need, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
12 acres.
You need, I understood you need 12
page 28 of 75 of your subdivision standards.
Say
Minimum
that
lot.
number again.
I have page 28 of 75. It's under E standards.
27.
Yeah, for rural district 6.3 E standards. Says
You're
minimum lot.
looking at the subdivision ordinance,
Land use, sorry, land use.
the land use ordinance. Okay, I thought we were gonna be looking at the subdivision ordinance, because you're also a major subdivision.
Yes, it's 6, keeps us in.
So you're looking at, okay, keep going.
Yep, so under E standards, the following standards shall apply: minimum lot area 2 acres, minimum lot area per dwelling unit 1 acre.
Say that again.
Minimum lot area 2 acres, minimum lot area per dwelling unit 1 acre.
Where's that again? Okay,
He's looking in the land use ordinance. I'm still looking in the subdivision ordinance.
Yeah, 2 acres, yeah. You're right. So what's the minimum lot? The minimum lot area is 2 acres. Well, how does that square that? So if you have. So if you've got a 3-family house. Yeah. You have to add an extra acre for each dwelling unit and an extra acre for road front. So is it 2 plus 1 or?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Right, yes.
2 plus
You need
1.
2 for the first.
So you need 2 for the first one, so we would need,
Okay, so this is what you were talking about, John.
yeah, so that's why we had 7. Because we thought it would be 2 for the first one, and then for the 5 subsequent, we needed 1 acre apiece, so that would be 7 acres.
That may be different in the subdivision ordinance, I'm not sure, but that's according to the regular land. The first, I mean, it's just not what it says, but, I mean, I see a logic, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's how we came up with the 7 acres, so if we miscalculated that, we'd obviously want some immediate guidance before we go too far down this path.
It's 1 acre per dwelling unit. And if you have 2 dwelling units in a duplex, then it's 2 acres per duplex.
Right.
So,
But then where does the minimum lot area of 2 come in? Like, if you have a
Well, I
minimum
think,
of 2?
I think what it is if you have, a minimum lot area of 2 acres, the max you could, and I think that's how Mr. did this, was, this lot was more than 2 acres to begin with, but if you had 2 acres, the max you could put on there is 2 dwelling units, a duplex, basically.
Yeah,
So if you have 7 acres, then you could qualify for up to 7 dwelling units, or, because that's how the density works.
I see that.
But to your point, I guess the question would be, the first point you made is the one that's more concerning, was that you can't have a secondary curb cut for, under subdivision.
Yeah, the way I see that one is, if you look at the subdivision ordinance on page 8, it defines, arterial roads or arterial, which is a numbered route, among other things. And then if you look at page 53, 12.2A1, it says no driveways onto an arterial.
yeah, but you have a road.
Yeah, but you have to have a road, but you can only have one
Right, one entrance.
entrance.
There'd be a road.
So if we were able to somehow finagle this, that we had a road that went in just dead ended,
Or teed
Well,
off, or teed off.
or teed off,
Yeah.
correct, yeah, we could do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, a couple applicants have abandoned the process because they had properties on numbered roads,
Mhm.
and they didn't want to build that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you have an existing roadway going in now,
Driveway.
driveway, but we call that a roadway.
Okay.
You're not gonna have that driveway plus another entrance.
Or we'd have to close that up and move if we did something. Yeah, I know.
So confuse me when you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
question, how close is that to the pit that's on the Calvin Road?
It's quite a distance from that.
Because they're down there.
Yeah.
Shooting
Several-
fire alarms all the time.
Yeah, it's several thousand feet from that.
That's just the property value, that's not really that.
I mean, Mr. Douglas' purpose is to rent these, so he currently has, two really nice, tenants in here now. With that success, he'd like to be able to put a couple more.
Yeah, they've kept it nice too, they've done a good job there.
Yeah.
Took them a long time to build them, but.
Well, yeah, he's taking his time, but, and he's had good long-term rentals, so that's why he's had great success, and he'd like to continue that, so I think it'd be an asset to the community if he's able to keep, nice people in there.
We also moved that building, it used to be a school building, and that took a while to coordinate it. But he did a fine job with it.
Yeah.
How does the current duplex get in and out?
They have a driveway right here.
Onto Route 11?
Yeah.
It wasn't part of the subdivision.
It was part of the subdivision, so.
This existing one, this is the drive.
And if, I checked, on 9/23/2014, we dissolved the old one.
So what are you doing for your septic?
Septics would be in the back, those are little squares that we have.
Oh, okay. That'd be your leach field,
Yes, and the wells would be in
100 feet.
100 feet, max, more than actually 100 feet. Yes, minimum 100 feet.
Is this site cleared?
Yes,
And Rocky.
Yes.
very rock, yeah, there's what, that knoll up in back there is a ledge outcrop. But it's a nice lot.
So these septic fields would be workable?
Yes.
When you have to mound them up?
Well, we'll do test
Probably
pits.
have to mound them up if you're gonna, if it's rocky, right?
Well, actually, it's rocky up here, but there's actually decent soil on the toe of the ledge, so. We'd give you test pits in HHE 200 for each one.
And this meets all the setbacks. So are you gonna parcel out the lot, or you're gonna keep one lot,
Correct.
but have
6 dwelling units on one
6
lot.
dwelling units, 3 buildings?
Correct.
Does that count as any sort of cluster development or anything like that? I don't know.
I just briefly saw, it's defined in here of subdivision that did not subdivide the lots, but of course I can't find it right on.
So then with the yellow, are you planning, so because you need that for the rest of the
Correct.
development, you're going to agree to keep that not developed?
I have not had that conversation with Mr. Douglas, but, based on the density, he wouldn't be able to do any further residential on that, so I don't know if he'd be objectable to putting it in, something on the plan that restricts him from being able to develop, but I do think he'd like to be able to get back there and, work the land if he could.
Yeah.
But I don't think, obviously, there's no intent, I don't think you could potentially get maybe down in here to get some passing soil test pits, but it's upland, but it's,
It doesn't go all the way down into the swamp?
it does, his piece actually starts here and goes all the way back. It goes back.
But the yellow does.
You got, you
Yeah,
start to show.
the yellow does not go into the wetlands.
You show the wetlands on the map.
Yeah, the wetlands, there's a piece here, the larger wetlands they're talking about is further down, the Carbondale Road, and there's a small swath that runs through. But that's why we gave him this in the middle, so it was upland, so we'd meet the net density.
So how many acres are in green and how many acres are in yellow?
4.4, I believe, in green, and 2.6, I think, in yellow. Oh, it's right here. 2.64 in yellow and 4.46 in green.
And once the yellow becomes green,
It becomes 7 acres over 7.
yeah, how are the lots divided? You can
There is
have-
no lot. He's in a butter to himself, so it's be a butter transfer. He will create a new entity. He would like to create a new entity for this.
And once that is all green, all one subdivision.
Right.
you need 3 separate lots, right?
No,
So Matt, in the subdivision, you can do dwelling units, 4 lots.
Oh, okay,
So he's
All right.
doing the dwelling unit approach, not the lot approach.
okay.
I don't think we've ever had one of these before.
oh, good.
So what is the answer then, David, as far as, since there's a driveway already going out to Route 11, what is the answer to access to these dwelling units once it becomes a subdivision?
All I know is what the code says is no driveways onto arterial. So he would have to,
Put a road in?
That driveway, I believe, if I can answer, would have to be converted to meet a road standard.
It'd be like a T
Yeah.
road.
yeah, you'd probably have 3, have the primary driveway and 2 fingers off the driveway and make it a common
Right.
entryway / road.
You'd have
That's
to
a
provide
private
room.
road, or does that become a town road?
No, it's
Right.
not become town.
I think it's private.
It'd be private. You wouldn't want it to be town.
Yeah, you'd have to
The town
provide
doesn't want it.
access for fire vehicles and all that.
And it looks like one of those lots is gonna be off the existing driveway. We've already got 2 of them on that
Right.
driveway. It's just a matter of adding one.
Yeah, whether you come back and do a spur, I don't know. He may change his mind knowing that, but, that's great information to share with us, so thank you.
Do you want to come to our next meeting and come up with a plan that includes the driveway?
We may, I'd like to have a conversation with Stanley before I do that. I don't know when it was just to be submitted to you, so we can be on for that meeting.
Because I'm thinking having a site walk doesn't make sense to me unless it's,
No,
Until we-
let's hold off on the sidewalk
Yeah.
until we have a
Yeah.
better comprehension of what needs to be done for a road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let us go back, and if we get it to you before the 11th, then at the 11th meeting, we can look at it again and schedule a site walk or inspection.
I try to keep the ball rolling.
I appreciate that.
You know, I don't want to hold anybody up.
Fascinating, the first one. Like this.
Yeah, and it says in the ordinance, it's dividing by lots or buildings.
Yeah, and it looks like a ship, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah. For the sale.
Have you talked to the people in the triangle lot?
We have not yet. No, this is just obviously early conceptual, so
Yeah.
we've not had any conversation with them.
I think it'd be great to have that conversation, because when they did Stony Brook, they bought that lot, and then, I don't know if it's Skip,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
I don't know if it was him, but I remember they were very upset because whoever owned the land at the time was gonna clear that blue area, I'm not sure what color that is.
Yes.
And they clear cut it up to the property line,
Yeah.
and they didn't have to, because there really wasn't much there.
Right.
And they were really upset, and so that's a long story, just to kind of say, like, I think they would appreciate being part of the process.
Yeah, and I think based on your conversation I heard in the first one, we would show that, there's no reason to go up into this point at all. So we could just say, there's a good vegetation regrowth happening now.
Yeah, it's happened last 6 or 7 years, yeah.
Yeah. So with that coming up, there's no reason we could just maintain that pristine.
I think if you told them that, they'd be so excited.
Well, I'll talk to Skip to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see any reason for that, or actually any reason down here as well, that we couldn't maintain buffers.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
really not easily built in there, and there's no need to, it's privacy for both sides.
Yeah, I think just on the tip there, probably for Carl Brunel, just the clearing the
Yeah.
sight lines, probably, but.
Yeah, it looks, it's, as you know, it's pretty rocky in there, so it's not really any advantageous to cut it again.
Right.
There must have been some good trees in there for them to cut it the first time.
I think it was a site,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
But that's my opinion, we're in the cameras, that's my opinion, I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah, and the good thing is that all the utilities are on for power and electric. And all
Yep.
that, 11, take a look, see what we have to do to make that right away work, and, let us come back on the 11th if that works for Stan, and, then we can discuss going forward in the site section.
Great,
Okay?
thank you.
Sure. What is Stan with? Is he local?
Standish,
Stan? Is he local?
Standish.
I think it is Spanish. Yes, it's Spanish.
I thought you were making a joke, Matt.
I just saw it somewhere.
Yeah, it's on,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
on plan.
Stanley Douglas, 19 Shadow Lawn Drive, Standish, Maine.
So he's had properties in.
Yeah.
That'll look.
Yeah, are we really supposed to call this thing Stony Brook subdivision amendment?
We
if
will-
Stony Brook subdivision has been dissolved?
Yeah, no, it won't be an amendment. I'll work with Stan to come up with a different name. We just did that because, at first, when we first looked at this, we hadn't understood that it had been resolved. So, since it's dissolved, it's not existing.
Great,
I can send you the solution,
Okay.
so you have it.
So, I think we had something from the registry that we found as well.
Oh, okay, good.
Great. Thank you for your time, and, we hope to be back on the web.
thank you.
Thank you much.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. You, Julia? Okay, so you're next on the list for it here.
You're probably looking for me to do the talking.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Give it a try. Give it a try. Gotta do it once.
Basically, we're here to request a conditional use permit so that we can have our business on our property. And there have been issues, concerning, additional traffic on the road.
Yep,
So we don't have any business to our house. We make everything at our house and then we go elsewhere, or we meet with customers elsewhere, and we ship things out. So there's no additional traffic, and we're just trying to figure out how we can do that.
so, there've been problems, as I understand it, and I don't live over there. I drive by Frost Heath Road, but I have tried very hard not to get involved in it.
I was hoping there would not be problems, but.
But, I think we want to know that there's adequate access for a fire engine.
And, in the business permit, as a service request, we plan to have a circle driveway which would allow people to turn around, or fire engines or emergency vehicles to turn around. And then also my parents have agreed to have a turnaround on the property across from us, that allow for better access.
Better access is good. So is there, having heard these arguments for too many years, is there a choke point at the beginning of Frosty Road?
Where it can get some more narrow.
Yeah,
Right in front of it.
well, that's what we were talking about there about.
So there is a section of the road that is more narrow, and we've talked to one person at this point about possibly bringing the road or upgrading the road and making that so it wasn't as much of a problem, or wasn't a problem.
I don't know what the problem is. I really studiously avoided this. You know,
In fairness, I actually stopped and I talked to this neighbor specifically before we started anything.
Before
Yeah.
anything.
And I went in and I told him, I said, look, I said, Julia's looking to build. And his daughter also built like next place up, and at the time we were like, okay, well, let's do this, and it helped her. Well, I went in and I talked to him, I said, she's looking to build. We're gonna transfer over the 2 lots, so that there's only room for 1 house up there, that's all that can ever fit up there anymore.
Yeah.
The next lot has a right of way out the back side, so it's not like there's any more use other than her house.
Yep.
And nice inspired me. Oh, this is great. That's good. That's good. I said, okay, I just wanted to give you a heads up because there was problems in the past, 30 years ago.
Yep.
And
then lo and behold, we started getting feedback that he's been in the town and he's been complaining about this, complaining about that. We're like,
So what
we
I'm,
tried.
why I'm bringing it up right off the bat, okay, is that you need a conditional use permit to have a business. And there's a public hearing. And it's publicly advertised and the butters get notices. Or it's talk.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity for whatever to be laid to rest. Because we're gonna argue it out in the public hearing.
Doesn't a prospective CUP applicant start working with the code enforcement officer first to develop the CUP before they come to the planning, or you have that?
We have an application.
We have been doing that, we've been talking with Dawn.
I just got it tonight, so.
And it's not a home occupation?
It's considered metal act. Dawn, we were all talking about it, and we call it manufacturing. But it is contained within the garage. I mean, it's all contained, and nothing is sold. We don't have people coming in buying products.
Yeah, so
They bring them out, and they sell them, and they send them out, they mail them. We try to be as complete as possible. We're willing to upgrade the road so that the narrows and stuff. And we've spoken with the land abutter and mentioned that we may have to take some rock wall and stuff, and we're gonna do a walkthrough with him and see what he has to say about, what we can do and how we can work it.
Yeah.
And we've spoken to people about getting estimates for the road, along with, and we've always had an agreement with the fire department anyway to try and keep, the brush and stuff clear back on that roadway up to the landing that's up there.
Yep.
Only because if there's forest fires and stuff, it would be a good spot for them to park it and be able to reach more areas.
Sure.
So we've always had that agreement, so it's never been that we would never allow them up there, so.
No, as I said, I don't know, I just have heard the noise. And I want to be sure that's all set. So,
But this particular neighbor probably will cause more issues. We've actually feel that there was some vandalism done up there and just trying to put in steps. So he will be vocal, he will be present.
I have always viewed the planning board as a place the town offers you to talk to your neighbor who you can't otherwise talk to. We force the hard conversations. And that's where we're going, is what I'm saying. That's where we're going, and, we will put you on the agenda, and we'll deal with this as we go along. You picked a pinch point where we're covering a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, but, we'll fit you in.
May I ask what business you have? So with Underdog Metal, we do, metal furniture and custom metal pieces, like we do street signs and stuff for people. We go around to fairs at this point, we're still really small, so he's actually at Windsor Fair right now, and then the next fairs that we do is in Freiburg. We do, like, welcome signs,
Plasma cutting.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great, wonderful. Love to see business in town. So we'll take this one step at a time.
Is there anything that you see have you been able to look at it at all?
No, I just saw it like, 5 minutes before the meeting started. What we're going to do is, if you look at the application form, starting on page 3, there's a list of things and we're just gonna discuss them, one at a time. But I tried to identify the big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else is straightforward. I'm sure he's gonna have, some sort of dust gathering, you know, and, I mean, it's just, we're gonna talk about everything. Have him come in, you know, because there are gonna be questions about his process.
Yes.
We wanna be sure it's clean, non-polluting, no odors, no dust, it's all reasonable stuff, you know. And we just make sure everything's being considered. Be amazed at how many people come in here and don't really know about the business they're getting into. And sometimes we help concentrate minds on where they're going. So, great, you wanna be September, what did I say, 11 is our next meeting? We're willing to do it. You might cut out a couple of signs that say left thing.
Is it a town road?
No, it used to be. It's a very small part of it at the beginning.
It's partial. When they used to plow roads for the elderly, they basically kept that part of the road open and they plowed up the lawn. And so that has remained a town road.
What?
The rest of it is not, I mean,
No, it's not.
but it is
So-
public access because there's a cemetery up there.
A question, Don, it's not a town road. Is this a subdivision we're talking about? I don't believe so, because when they discontinued it, they got a letter from the select board saying that they could use that kind of as frontage for building one. So we need to see that letter. Right, I've got that. Okay. So that's something we're gonna look at. Okay.
And these were divided.
We've done quite a while back.
What's the agreement on the road? Like, who owns the road then?
It's a deeded right of way. It's actually an abandoned town road, technically. Which should revert to a public way with a butters on the center, onto the center.
I don't know road law. Road law is very,
Because that sounds like the big issue,
yeah,
the road.
yeah.
Why not, so it needs to be improved.
Which is why we would say we would upgrade the road according to the land use ordinance. It says that that's part of the conditions.
You're gonna, it would be in your best interest to bring whatever documentation that says you can do that based on whatever the right of way is.
Okay, yeah, and then all these we've had written up.
Right. I've got that in the file.
Okay.
Do you possibly have a copy of the, whatever it was, discontinued or abandoned or whatever? Yes, I can.
I think I gave you that, didn't I?
You did, what did, do you remember the map?
Map 9?
And because whatever it was called seems to be very important to lawyers.
It used to be Weeman Road. It is? Okay.
Some of the roads going back, regular roads, some roads.
On that easement? On that extra right of way for the loggers when they were up there?
I don't know where the line ends. I've got an idea that it's in front of Rex.
Okay, well, we'll look at how close.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So it would be helpful, I think, I don't know anything about this, but I think it would be helpful to show the road and then show who has rights on the road. But he was just, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that drawn out there pretty well. This was when the selectmen had the meeting to discontinue the road and said that they could build on it.
And then I don't know if this matters or not, but the abandonment was never filed in the registry.
I don't know.
All right, well, it sounds like you all have done your due diligence, so. We'll see what everything says. Yep.
Yeah, can you just make sure we have copies of that?
Yeah, I can get them copies. Yep.
How many employees do you have?
Just me and him.
I hope you have a problem of all the people you hire not fitting them into
That would be awesome. I think we're a very long way off from that if we ever get to that point, so.
Wait a minute, yeah, mom helped out.
Yeah, mom helped during Fair Week. Mom learned how to powder coat during Fair Week.
I'm just wishing you good luck.
Okay.
So we're all set? Good.
Come back on the 11th and go from there, I guess,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. We'll discover what we're doing this week. You know what? I have no use for it. When you marvel out okay, Pranay.
Okay, mine is more of an information than anything else. I'm not requesting anything before I plan on. We just recently purchased one house at 186 Toothwalker Trail,
Okay.
which has got a dorm, a side garage, and of course the existing house. And in the process of upgrading and planning to upgrade the septic system too.
Yeah, so this is the
Currently-
house, excuse me, it's on the house on the corner with blinking yellow light.
Yes, just right opposite from the library
So
on School Street,
on this side of the street,
other side.
other
When you
side,
go from that side, it's other side.
library.
Red brown house.
So on the library side, but next, so right across the street from the library.
Yes.
Around with all the boats in the yard and all
Yeah,
that
yeah, I'm
stuff.
talking now.
The brown house, yeah.
Yeah, right in the corner.
And bought that on the
Street-
corner?
School Street goes inside,
Yeah.
and on the other side of School Street is the, our library, and the corner is that house.
Yeah.
So the acreage is about, I believe, it's definitely less than 2 acres, right? It already has a built-in old existing, it has a dorm and also side garage. So my goal of purchasing, I've been wanting to provide some housing for my employees.
Oh, very nice.
And that's why I'm trying to see, okay, how can I find something affordable? I can make it affordable, but good enough for anybody to do. I just don't want to do any hanky-panky, really dilapidated state or something like that.
Yep.
So looking at the house personally myself, and I said, okay, even if I do the main house first, there I see a room, the dorm can be converted into a studio or something like that. And if the engineers say, okay, we can design something with a separate bedroom, otherwise it's an open concept, a living space with a kitchen and dining room in that dorm space. So I checked with CEO and they said, with the dorm should be fine, but since it's so close to the store, so I just wanted to ask, I understand that to have any 2 dwellings, you have to have at least 2 acres to add a ADU. That's what CEO explained to me.
Yes.
So my purpose of coming here is later if my design permits, right? Is there any way that I can add another small unit besides what I have at the moment?
So you have one dwelling unit
At the moment, there's 1 dwelling unit and a garage.
and the garage. So one of your big problem, as you've already identified, is you have what's called a substandard lot. It's under 2 acres.
Yes, yes.
I don't know how we can do anything with that. It's a,
So if it's not allowed at all, then I would not plan, I'll have a different way of planning. In the future, and that's not something I need right now.
yeah,
But if I'm allowed something, when I'm doing the septic, it might as well
sure.
design my septic to support, both the dwelling at the same time.
So the thing about a substandard lot is you can't do anything to a substandard lot that makes it standard. You can't add uses that already you can't do.
So standard and non-conforming.
I'm sorry, you're right, I'm sorry, non-conforming, it's a non-conforming. lot.
Can you put an ADU on it though?
What?
Can you put an ADU on it under state law?
That's
Under
okay, even if
state law, but not
ADU,
under town ordinance.
I think state law.
Oh,
Yeah, here's the deal on this, and that is that anything with ADUs, since the town rejected the changes to the land use ordinance for LD 2003, which allowed ADUs, that we, as a planning board, are obligated to decline or reject anything that's not in our land use ordinance, and that means that, we've covered this and talked about it before, that any applicant then, to get an ADU in compliance with state law has to go to the appeals board.
Okay. Do you understand what?
basically what I said, we can't do it.
yes,
Well,
That's what I understood, right? Yeah.
no, I don't think it's that easy. I mean, I think, so
I,
does the appeals board, does it have to follow state law, or does it,
the appeals board does not, as far as I know, does not have to follow, well, yeah, they have to follow state law. We have to follow the, land use ordinance.
as does the code enforcement officer.
So you gotta take it to the, appeals board, and I believe there is legislation, that they have changed the 2-acre requirement to allow, to make it as easy as possible to put ADUs on properties.
The
And that's
answer is,
something I've heard about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's all related or not, that the government is trying to, because of the housing shortage, trying to compromise or do something about allowing, the land requirements to be a little bit less. So this is what I want to just
so
understand.
what you would do would be, you would go to the code enforcement officer, who would reject your permission to
No,
develop.
he said, I need to come and talk to you guys so that he can clarify me.
You need to come and talk, and you need to apply, and you need to get rejected, and you need to appeal it, and perhaps on appeal, you would get what you want.
It'd be rejected and I can reapply.
Go to the appeals board.
I'll appeal for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
so
to
there's-
the appeals board.
Oh, okay, got it.
so we have to follow. the
No, I
ordinance.
understand.
Yeah, but state law is different than the ordinance. And so it's not like we're saying you did anything bad or asking to do anything bad. You're just not you're asking us to do something we can't do.
No, I understand.
Or you haven't actually asked us yet, but
Right,
if
right.
you did ask us, the appeals board has different jurisdictions, and so it may or may not approve your request. It's up to them. Like, we can't tell you whether they would or wouldn't. We don't
No
know.
one cannot do it, but if
But
I
they may
feel,
say you could do it. So we totally get that you're in a tough spot because you want to know now whether you might be able to do it in the future. But to know if you could do it in the to know if you can do it, you have to ask us for permission. We say no, and you have to take it to the second level, which is the appeals board, to find out if you can or can't do it.
I got it,
Is that?
I got it.
Yes.
There's no hard feelings by doing that.
Yeah.
It's just a procedure we have to go through.
How often does the appeals board meet?
When they have
When they have to look at it?
Upon need.
And related to the same property, I've got another question, because the garage, it was built I'm trying to history to find out that someone told me it could be a part of railway system and things like that. And that's another thing, our old railway has built that house or somebody related that bill. It seems to be tied up some historically. And the way I look at that house, if it's historically tied, I want to design the way it preserves the old value also, but I'm not sure. I got different information down there.
Who's the
It's called
historical
Method
society?
Station.
So the Historical Society,
And I was told the garage was meant, the garage, the way it was built by the railway station people.
so Kathy, when is the Historical Society open?
Usually on Saturdays,
2 Saturdays a month?
I think so.
Second and fourth.
But
Nice.
the historical
And
society
the
is
second floor,
I know, but-
rail trail.
Oh, you wanna know who owns the rail? That's the state.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that if they have a right of way for the railroad that they're trying to turn into a trail, they may have, a right of way that expands, to the point of his garage.
The right of way does not expand to the point of your garage.
No, he's asking who would know the history of the house.
Oh, the
Yeah,
history of
the history of the house.
And that would be the
Historical
Historical.
Society.
So, yeah, and then, because basically, if you need to correct, it says, okay, you can do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
If it has some kind of established history, I want, in terms of designing what I do there,
Yeah.
want to make state of, because I design, I might want to think
And-
about the same.
And they would be the ones who have those records if they exist,
the-
the historical, yeah, yeah.
Ask him when he's gonna be here, hang on. He's an
Hmm?
old college
Hmm?
buddy.
Okay.
I'm asking when he's coming next.
Okay, okay.
The historical
And-
guy.
So currently, that's, it is, I see that is a commercial village zone, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Will I be allowed just the garage part, if I redid it, would I be allowed, if later down the line, some kind of a small retail store or a laundry or some kind of business, would I be allowed to do that?
We would have to say no. You could appeal that to the appeals board if you wanted to, but we would have to say no.
No, I'm talking about converting the garage.
Yeah, we would have to say no.
Oh, we can't do that.
Because
Because it's already existing.
that's another use. If you want to have your house be 2 dwelling units, then you want to convert the garage, that's 3 uses. And that
I'm
becomes,
thinking, like, one part of the house would be dwelling,
yes,
another part that would be a store. So you're saying in one same lot, you don't have to,
on the lot, on a substandard lot.
oh, so because it's less than 2 acres, you cannot have retail.
It's a non-conforming lot, well, yes, because it's a non-conforming lot, you can't have 3 uses.
Okay.
As far as we are concerned, you can't have 2 uses and you have,
I can have 2 acres.
but if you appeal it to the appeals board and they approve, that's something else. We can't tell you whether how they'll behave. But certainly, we would stop you at 3 uses on the lot. Because that would be a subdivision, for as far as we're concerned.
Okay. So even if the garage cannot be converted, because at the moment, but I could develop the dorm as another unit, right? The dorm, in the same house.
Not with our permission.
No, of course, I mean, with your permission.
On appeal, the appeals board might allow you to do that.
So you're saying we can't even have 2 dwellings there at the moment?
You have a process to go through where the appeals board may or may not allow you to do that. We would not, most likely, we would not allow you to do that.
Do you have a lawyer, Pranay?
Do I need one?
Well, here's my comment. I would look into not just LD 2003, but look into LD 1829, 1829. It was signed.
Let me make a note of that. What is that?
1829. LD 1829. It was signed into law June 2025. 1829.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes it easier to build ADUs and small multifamily homes, but that's especially in areas with public water and sewer, which isn't going to help you.
That's not bad.
But it eliminated the owner occupancy requirement. It eliminated additional parking. Additional parking was no longer required for an ADU. And here's the key: flexible placement. ADUs can be attached or detached or located within existing structures like basements.
Perhaps a garage?
Yeah, so you need to really understand what's in LD 1829, because when you take your plan to the appeals board is going to consider what state law is, and they're probably not going to reject something that is approved by state law, because they know if you took them to court that you would win, because state law, in this case, the state of Maine has put these things into law which supersedes home rule, which means these laws supersede whatever our land use ordinance or anything like that is. So if you understand what you can do with LD 1829, then you have an idea of what the appeals board would likely approve.
So as of now, because I'm asking this again because I can't hear very well, even though there's a dorm already existing, I cannot convert that to another street at the moment. That can be just for one dwelling at the moment. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, it's only one dwelling at the moment, yes.
I cannot even build another street at all in the back.
Correct.
Okay.
But he could if he was an ADU.
So yes, their process is to go through.
Right.
And that's what he's asking now, was just whether he could do it right now, and the answer is no.
So you would have to go through, you may be able to do it after you go through the appeals board.
Okay. And how long is that normal process? Is it months or?
Months.
It might not really work.
It's up to you.
Because if it's not allowed, then I wouldn't be spending money on bringing, even planning for, that'd be just a storage, and I'll just use it as one.
Yeah.
One, the way it's.
I would get professional
opinion
perspective on whether what you want to do is allowable by state law. Exactly.
And that's a real estate attorney does it, or what kind of?
I would say a real estate attorney.
Yeah.
Would be your best bet.
Real estate?
Yeah.
Okay, now another question. This is about a property which has got 2.8 acres.
Yeah.
On the Rocky Down Road.
Okay.
It has a single wide. Now, if all the roads and everything, which I can check with the CO later, would that be allowed normally with a normal process to add another unit? It's got 2.8 acres.
So,
So
Don,
this is a listing that I got.
this is a Don question.
This one just came on the
Okay.
market. Did you purchase this? Or this just came on the market, right? This just came on the market, right?
This been in the market, yes.
Did you buy it?
Huh?
Did you buy it? You're thinking of
I know, I'm thinking of, I'm thinking of buying it if it's.
So that is a Don question.
Right, okay.
He's the one who would
You will say yes and no.
yes and no. for the
This is
tax
what I was
without
talking
the lot.
about. It has got 2.8 acres, got a single wide and some garage, something built out.
Right. What is it you want to do with
I'm
that?
trying to get some way to build.
To update us on.
That'd be affordable.
Right.
In addition to LD 2003, so we could do that for us.
You could enlarge that, make it a two-family.
Yeah.
You could enlarge what's there and convert it to a two-family house. And then based on, if you want, almost got enough for the third one. Yeah, great.
Say it again. So that means I need to get rid of this?
Yes, please put on the.
No, if I want to maintain as it is, can I
I
add
wasn't
another?
being clear. It would have to be
Just bring up
attached,
something else.
it would have to be attached to that one. You could expand that by adding to it. Make it
I can make it
easier.
into
Fucking
it.
around with that. Right, as long as it's attached. Our relationship with.
So what if it's attached,
So the
like,
dimension
wood,
plan.
like it, what's
I
working
just,
together?
I don't know, if this is one unit, you can just add.
Yeah.
To the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Another one here.
So how about,
This one here doesn't come into effect.
is there any reason we have to continue the meeting?
Yes.
No, actually, next July, it can answer my question. I don't.
I need Don to give us a report, a CEO report. You, talked to.
You can talk to me.
You talked to the selectmen about, Tom White. Unfortunately, there's a situation with him. There was a complaint about the lighting that he's got down there where the church is, that lights up somebody's bedroom. And also, when the food pantry was open, there were some boys playing in the big dirt piles out there, and one of them rolled down into the building. And I went to talk to them to see if they could angle the light a little differently and maybe fence around there, because they were supposed to pour that foundation last fall. And I didn't even get to ask the question. They said, "Can you not read?" And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, that's where all these no trespassing signs are. And you can't come on our property if you don't leave right now. We're calling the police. And no one from the planning board or the select board is allowed on any of our properties for me." And I believe I do have a right to do that, but I left because he started to file the sheriff's report. And I just didn't want a big confrontation. I don't know what's going on
Is
with
that
that.
Tom White himself?
Yeah, it was, Ron Sargent, who's his office manager. And he said that that was the decision that Tom White had made. And, that's just very unfortunate, because they were talking about using the town farmland for more trails, which was a great idea if they built the building. But if they're gonna restrict the town from even doing inspections, that's really not good.
Something's going on.
And quite honestly, the way that building is, they put it up on a block, and it's amazing it hasn't collapsed. You know, I'd be within my rights to go in and condemn the thing, they don't really want to do for that. But they really need to do something to secure it a little bit. And they asked me to convey to the planning board as well as the select board that no town officials are allowed in their property. They're allowed to talk to them. If you want to talk to them, you have to talk to their lawyer. I said, I haven't even said why I'm here yet. They said, if you want to talk to the lawyer, leave now. So that's pretty strong. I was quite surprised, because they've always been very easy to get along with in the past. I know they were trying to do all kinds of good things for the town when they first came.
Is something that, Mike Lee caused a problem and
I-
got them upset?
I don't have any idea what happened. I don't know. I do know they had, on one of their lots in Fremont Wood subdivision, they got a building permit to build a garage, storage building. And he's made that into a house. And there's nothing in the file that indicates you can do that.
On Carl Manell Road?
No, this is over in Fremont Woods, off of Sand Pond Road, one of the two lots he's got over there. You there?
Wait, I thought we were talking about the guy who had the frisbee disc played.
Right, he owns all of it. He's got property all over. He bought up a lot of stuff.
So he bought up a property in that subdivision? Oh, okay.
Right, two of them actually.
I didn't know that.
And then he bought another church up in Bridgeton, which would
in 5 months he'd be listed and sitting on that. He's kind of had to change some of his plans.
All right, well, it's good to know.
So I don't know, he has a CUP to run his business there, and most of the CUPs, you're both right, say the lighting has to point down, not up into somebody's house. But, and I don't want to see any children get hurt from the food pantry. The parents go in and do the shopping, and the kids, boys being boys, play in the sandbox, which is what's up there. What food pantry? In East Moulton, in the old Congregational Church.
Every Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock.
Where is that relative to his property?
He owns it. He owns it. The food pantry is in his property. He's in the old parish hall.
Oh, so you went on to the church I see. I thought we were talking about, I thought we were rather talking about the Frisbee golf place. Yeah, we don't have any right to be on the church property. There's no permit there. Yes, there is. For what? Well, he got I believe he finished getting the CUP. He was gonna move the parish hall over.
He has no CUP.
We don't have any CUP on that church. He had a building permit to put a foundation and build it. Yeah, you may have a building permit, he has no CUP.
Or can you put his offices in the church?
Right, in the Sunday school classrooms and the church office, but it's all tied together.
So a building permit has a limit. You have 1 year to do so.
The year is up as far as that. But you can't leave a building that large up on a big steel I-beam. And I know when I was over there before, he dug out underneath for cellar. And there was a post holding up the center of the church. Well, that's all sand under there. You swim in a couple of feet of that post. You get a heavy stone load or something, that'll place it in there.
And I'm not saying any issue on that, it's just there's nothing that we've done with regard to the church property and Tom Wright.
Well, he was in the process of that, because
Yeah.
he wanted to move the parish house and have the food pantry in the lower level and 2 apartments in the upper level. And he's got his main offices over there, and he's gonna build an event hall.
So
And
he
needed to
should
come
have a
for
permit,
CUP.
yeah, he should have a CUP, yeah. So if he's operating a business out of the church, he's in violation.
Well, that's exactly, his whole enterprise is operated out.
Oh, so you should send him a violation, so there's no,
You haven't given him a CUP yet.
not for that
Then
property,
No.
no,
Yes,
no,
well, then he's in violation.
yeah,
That's probably why he doesn't want you over there,
I think so,
or any of his other properties.
I think so, yeah, I think that's probably part of the issue.
I thought we informally, verbally told him that he was not changing the use, because at the time, he was just going to use it as a meeting place and hold weddings there, and we said, that's not a change of use,
Right.
to hold weddings in an ex-church.
I don't think I was here for that, so.
That's what I remember.
I don't think I was there. He was gonna have an event venue there.
Yeah,
Have weddings and
like, that's what a church is, an event venue.
I think there's 4 or 5 rooms in the back added onto that building maybe 20, 30 years ago, and he's using those as offices.
But you did say that when you was talking about the church.
Yeah.
So,
You did say that was
no, I think, this is something I can come back and talk to
Yeah,
him.
well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure, we don't.
I can just talk to him and,
Okay.
yeah, because it's not something, no.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah,
All right.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Pranay.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you for this, take a look at that too. Good luck. Yeah. Thank you.
So we have nothing for us to do, just information, right?
Just information. When Don talks to me, I don't stop the information flow at that point. I think of us all as equals, and everybody should know. But that doesn't mean Don should go around and talk to each person individually. He talks to me, and maybe sometimes he says things that I don't think need to be passed on because they're of no consequence. I think Tom White is of consequence to this town. He owns some significant property.
He does.
If he puts plans into effect, he'll have significant businesses. So that's why we ought to know.
So based on this information, should we, we had talked about, I think there was some, there were some challenges with the CUPs and how they were documented.
Yes,
Should we go back and look at those to see if there any need to clean those up at all?
I would say, of course, and I would also say, I think we're going to be going back to look at those CUPs anyway. I suspect that the businesses won't be started and functional within, 2 years?
Right.
Well, Carl Burnell is going.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he's got everything over there, and he's I drive by there now and then. So that's up and going. It's the, whether or not he's made substantive improvement to that parcel within the time period. I don't remember the dates, but
I forget if it's 1 or 2 years.
yeah.
But he will argue that he's moved a lot of dirt in it.
Yeah, and you see
Well, the thing is, he had told me a while back that it took way too long to get the CUPs approved. And the time limit wasn't adhered to by the planning board. And the final form he had, there are no conditions put in there whatsoever. And as far as he and his attorney were concerned, they could do whatever they wanted. So you might want to review those. I don't know.
No, I remember that. I remember that conversation.
It's just unfortunate because it's always nice that people come in and have a conversation. When they say you can't talk to us or come on our property, call our lawyer, that's a big barrier. And it's unfortunate. It's unnecessary. They seemed like nice enough folks to me up until just recent, and I never had any issues. So I got along with them fine. In fact, I encouraged him to build over here in South. When he first came in, seemed to have a lot of things that were potentially very good for the town. But what the situation is with him now, I can't honestly say.
No. And you didn't have a chance to talk to him. You said you were going to try to talk to him.
I tried to talk to him 2 weeks ago, and we left it that we'd talk again in another couple of weeks. He was just way too busy to talk.
That's right.
So I'm not calling him again.
All right.
He's also taken, he was providing the food pantry with a porta potty because they have no water over there, bathroom facility. And apparently now he's making them have to pay for that. It's kind of, they're concerned that they might not be able to stay.
Sounds like he's feeling unappreciated.
I don't know what the problem is, or whether everything ended up, he had some pretty grandiose plans. And maybe when the figures came in, it was a lot more than he wanted to spend. I don't know. I really don't know. Still an awful lot of projects altogether.
Thank you.
We have done that.
Do you have anything else to report to us? That was enough. Do you have anything else?
Probably, but as far as having this offices there, you're okay with that? If you wanted to get to your people?
It's running a business. I think it's running a business in a building.
Right.
I would think you need a CUP for that.
I would think so too.
I think when he was going to use the church as a hall, that was not a change of use.
That's right.
But now he's got a change of use.
It would certainly seem.
But I think at the time that he said that he was gonna take it, use it as a wedding venue, he said that he was gonna use part of the rooms for his office. And I think I was sitting in the big time.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm just more concerned that he put a foundation under there and died for it.
That's your problem.
It's a pretty hazardous situation.
That's your problem.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking, you might as well address the whole thing as it's going to be addressed.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
So So I should report that, Jim Libby, who is our state senator, got a hold of me. He was referred to me by, Ben McKinney, because the Robbins family, somebody in the Robbins family had talked to Jim and said, that they had been forced to take out a change of use at the mill, a change of use permit. And they didn't want to change the use, and they wanted to know how they could get rid of the permit and change it back into something that meant something. And I referred them on to Don. And this was, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. But this was something that was done by Mike Lee. Rather than have them come in for a conditional use permit, he just issued a change of use permit to build the,
He built 3 buildings down there, actually.
yeah,
And he gave him permits for all of them. And that was under a CUP. And when you change the use of the CUPs, you're supposed to come in and modify it. And he told them they should have the CUP thrown out. It wasn't necessary.
I think he's right.
Well,
but now that they have it, they're under a CUP.
That's outside there. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean,
do you
you
think
can't
they
say,
didn't need one in the first place?
You know, we looked at, so the way, I thought they did, because they were expanding they were expanding a non-permitted use, right? Because they don't have a permit for that.
Right.
So I thought they needed to expand a non-permitted use. I thought they had to have a conditional use permit. What was the woman's name that worked with Mike for a while?
Kathy Green.
Kathy. So Kathy, pointed out to me that in the ordinance, or she pointed out in a meeting, but in the ordinance, there is a provision that says something to the effect of, if the use was going on before the ordinance and it doesn't have a permit, the code enforcement officer can approve an expansion of the existing use. And I wasn't aware of that, and they didn't point it out to us at the time, because I don't think they knew it was there. And so my recollection of that meeting was, I was convinced at the end of that meeting that they did not have to take a conditional use permit out in order to expand their use of that property, that the CEO could issue a permit to allow them to do it.
So what do you think we should do at this point?
I don't know. It's kind of bugged me for a while, just in the back of my head, because, I mean, if we didn't have to do it, we told them they did, and I'm still not totally sure we have to, like, I would want to go through it with the group to make sure everybody agrees, because I'm not 100% sure, but I was convinced at the time. If they didn't have to do it, we told them they did, that doesn't feel right. But by the same token, shame on them, they did, and so now it's under, we said at the time, you can't expand the use, and without coming back, that's why we wanted the map of where everything was.
Right.
But, I don't honestly know the answer. I mean, I don't have, I guess I should say, the answer is the board's answer, but I don't know my personal answer to the question of, is it really fair of what happened? If in fact what I'm saying is all correct, and which I'm, still not 100% sure that that's all correct. I think maybe what we should do is have this as an agenda item before 9 o'clock, 10:30. And walk through to see if it's something that we felt like they did have to do or not have to do, and then talk about it as a board, what we think the next step should be.
Okay,
Because I think we have to act as a board.
I think we're probably looking at, October, November, December, somewhere in there, because we've got a lot of stuff in front of us right now.
Sure, and I could try to remember what the sequence was of what she said was the process that ended up with the CEO being able to do it. I could try to find that section so we could quickly look at it.
It was a substantial expansion of the building. It was multi-million-dollar project. They did all the.
And my recollection is the ordinance did not define any size limitation.
Oh, okay. Well, I certainly
So,
didn't.
but I'll have to find it, because like I said, I
Sure.
don't remember it.
So that's why I brought it up. Because we should know better what we should be doing.
Which is why Mike issued the permits, because at the end of that meeting, he was convinced he could do it.
Well, Mike was convinced of a lot of things.
He was. But, like I say, I don't have a personal, I'm not sure what I personally think about it. I'm just not sure it's fair, but.
But what he issued for a permit was a change of use. I mean, that's what I'm getting back from Robin.
I don't know what that level of, I don't know that, I'd have to see what it is.
Yeah.
What that would make sense.
I never heard of that, from us. Well, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor of adjourning, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much. That was, nice.